Guess what? We're into Champion Select. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Remember, Denial do not have any bans, so they'll be letting that time out. So there's actually another 17 seconds until we technically get to Champion Select. But we are going to look at these bans from Dignitas. Right. We've talked about jungle bans, the potential Irelia. Irelia, Elise, and Nidalee as a refresher were the bans coming out in from Dignitas. What will they go this time?
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Denial's bans. I was going to be like, no,
they
Pulse.
didn't.
There's no
insane?
no
Why would
bans
they
with
do
Denial
that?
here.
Yeah.
What do they go? I think Team Dignitas go with the Elise. I mean, you have to. The Nidalee probably. I actually think they should just stick with the same bans. Like Irelia, Nidalee, Elise would make so much sense.
So what did they do about the Rengar?
I think you just deal with it by
let
picking
them
something
pick it?
more mobile.
Okay.
Or something that can at least, like, I don't even want to say like land a stun, because then you're coin flip.
I mean, with Twisted Fate, it's just like, well, I'm going to deal with this by not being in my lane. I'm out in a different lane and ganking.
Which isn't particularly too much of a problem. Like, it's still low mobility, but... Okay, Elise off the table. That's to be expected.
I mean yeah, it didn't blow anyone out of the water.
If there was anything we could have been certain of in the last 30 minutes,
it was definitely Elise
that was the one
coming out, yeah. All right, second ban will be going away from Denial. What's it going to be from Dignitas? Nidalee and Irelia were the last two. It's going to be the Nidalee again.
Okay, makes sense.
Anticipation is growing. What's the final ban going to be from Dignitas?
It's just going to be something. They're just going to ban something random. They'll ban Orianna so that they don't have Syncox play it again. That's a little bad-mannered. I'm sorry,
This is
Syncox.
in from Wonderway. It's like, my team?
A team.
Mid lane?
Oh, dear. So, then the question remains, what did Denial go with first? Do they pick the Victor away in the first pick when it comes around to them? Do they look for a jungle pick to start things out? Do they look for an Irelia if it's available? It remains to be seen with the ban. There's a lot. There's a lot that is on the cards with 3 extra champions available. Okay, they stick with the same bans. That makes sense.
Guys. Yeah, so they just they banned the same as game 1. So is it going to be the first pick Rengar? Because Rengar was the last pick in from Denial last game. Are they that confident that it was the Rengar that brought them the win?
I don't think you need to first pick Rengar here. Like, I don't think there's really any rush, because you know Obvious isn't likely to play Rengar. He's shown no affinity for it, and there are other junglers available. They went Sivir Rek'Sai here last time around. Both are available again should they want to go for it, if they do want to stick with the same picks and ban strategy, just like Denial.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, all right, we're going to have the Victor as the first pick in here. Just like the first game, I'll be going on to Cons Q, and now we just need to see the response from Dignitas. Again, Victor, great as a first pick in the mid lane, since it's pretty difficult to straight up counter a Vix. He's pretty safe into most matchups. Sivir and Rek'Sai, literally the first game all over again in the same order.
Same picks here in the same order, as you said. If that was the case, Braum Corki would be the next 2 out from Denial, but I don't know whether there'll be in any rush to lock those in. They could. I mean, the first game worked out very well for them with executing their composition. Now that the Rek'Sai has been locked in, this was the same kind of setup that they were looking for the Rengar, and they do lock it in for Denial. That Rengar being locked is exactly the same, at least 5 champions that we've seen right now. Little different order.
Yeah, Braum was brought up again in the same rotation. Rengar is the only change. Last time they picked the Corki. I would be a little surprised if Denial brought in a different AD carry, because it's just been Corki for the last couple of weeks. But again, Warlight has way more in his arsenal that he can bring out.
Played a lot of Tristana
now. Yes, it was like 5 weeks in a row.
We've basically seen him play Corki, Tristana, and Kog'Maw, like the 4 champions he's played. In fact, Sivir and Kalista as well on top of them. So he has played a lot. Yeah.
Everything meta. Fantastic.
Numbers have gone.
So, Dignitas, what have you got? Are you going to change up your strategy, or are you just going to do the same sort of thing? They were definitely lacking for damage last game, but that's also because they were all so far behind they had no damage.
So they're counter-picking top again. At this point, you pick your mid lane here. Twisted Fate is available for Team Dignitas should they look to be going for it. It is a matchup that we've seen a lot. We've seen the Varus as well.
Curveball!
And now we're seeing the Gangplank.
All right. Pretty different. We did see some Gangplank before. We've actually seen it by Cabashard in the Summer Split, but that was old Gangplank. That was AP Runeglaive Gangplank.
Right.
This is new Gangplank, which we've never seen, ever. anywhere
No.
in the world.
We have not had an opportunity
Yeah.
because he wasn't really enabled until this patch.
Correct. And then he was dead.
He's back from the dead. We'll see whether he uses the ghost skin. That is kind of problematic. You know, there was a lot of discussion from specifically Wicked. This is kind of ironic that this is happening in this game. About the fact that teams on live weren't able to play with Gangplank, but clearly Wonderware feels like he put enough games in before Gangplank was disabled to actually play it. So I am looking forward to seeing how new Gangplank with the rework does. Similar style of support for Nisbet with that Alistair. Tank support. It didn't particularly work out with the Nautilus in game 1. Now he's going to take less damage now with that Unbreakable Will from Alistair.
Yeah, they have a lot of ways to actually get out of CC. Both Alistair and Gangplank have the oranges and also the Unbreakable Will. That's going to be the Cogmore, so we were talking about different picks from the AD carry. This is something he's picked up before. Interesting that he'll pick it up now, and now we do have the Rumble for Wicked again.
Again, he picks it into the Gangplank, and this is Wonderware. I assume it's going to Wonderware, saying, I'm confident with this pick into whatever. Very similar to what Kabashad did. Did he just blind pick this?
Yeah.
I mean, they had the opportunity to last pick top lane, and this is a second oddball pick. The first was Tahm Kench. Now we've got Gangplank coming out from Wonderware. They didn't even need to counterpick mid lane at this point.
Yeah, we'll see what Senkux does, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you don't look at anything at all. It's like, okay, we give Senkux our counterpick because it's Senkux. And it's going to be Xerath. It's actually, yeah, okay, Xerath for the mid lane.
I really dislike this.
Okay, why is that, Stress?
Because there were changes made to Xerath to do with his stun, the Shocking Orb, which meant that the whole reason that we lowered the cooldown on Shocking Orb was to prevent Xerath from ulting point-blank enemies in front of him and having them stunned for days. The whole reason was that you have to preemptively stun. And against a Rengar, that is difficult to do. We talked about like the 50-50 with the Varasalt. Okay, Xerath is going to be able to do it more frequently, but Rengar's only going to be there a couple of times. If you miss that Shocking Orb, you are extremely low mobility.
Yeah, I agree. It's all on the Shocking Orb, essentially, in the mid lane. And we know that Kairi probably wants to go mid lane in this game.
Right.
So.
However, the benefits of Xerath here is you get to sit further back in the lane. Theoretically, Senkux should not be in a position to get Rengar ulted with the lockdown. So, in theory, it can still work. But I am not a fan looking at Game 1's performance, looking now to Game 2 for the same setup. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's definitely not what we talked about. We were looking at different opportunities and different ways that they could potentially play this out. But Xerath is a different one. It's been a while since we've seen a Xerath for sure. But looking at the rest of the compositions, Rek'Sai Gangplank is the also new one, the first Gangplank we've seen in competitive. Sivir and Alistair is pretty much the mainstay of a lot of team compositions that we see. Sivir with the movement speed, Alistair just being Alistair.
Being Alistair.
A state of being Alistair. Find your zone.
Find your zone and then headbutt pulverize it into the ground. I'm looking forward to seeing the Gangplank. Hesitant on the Xerath. Not saying it's a bad pick, just think it's a very risky one. As you said, not one we see all that often. We do, however, see it by certain players. Gang by Mom being the biggest proponent of Xerath over in LCK. Yeah, so we see him from time to time by players that have an affinity for Xerath, but I've never really thought of Senkux as a Xerath player. I mean, I know he's used to play a lot of Syndra, he used to play a lot of Assassins. Now he wants to play incredibly safe, but it doesn't particularly fit the meta. It's great wave clear, bits of poke in here and there, but there are champions that have shown to be better at doing it.
Yeah, doesn't even want the Azir as well after those changes, so that's the other big one.
Basically the same composition coming out from Denial. They're going to make the same plays, looking for the teleport plays, looking to team fight. Over on the other side of Team Dignitas, I'm hesitant to say much until we see how well Gangplank can fare in the 1v1 against the Rumble, but generally they're looking to kind of wave clear a heck of a lot in this game.
All right, guys, hop on Twitter, open a new tab, use those hashtags DNLWin and DEUWin, and tweet at us at LOL Esports and tell us what you think. Who's going to win this game as we get into the second game? Team Dignitas are one loss down in this one. DNL just need to win this game, and they will advance to the grand finals.
They will. It's about time. It's about time, Pulse.
Almost.
I'm getting very excited to get into this game now.
And we're just about to get into it, Stress. Let's go. Okay, game 2 in this best of 3. Denial Esports up against Team Dignitas EU. Thank you for waiting, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. We're finally into this one. Everyone has bought their items. Everyone is going to jump up the spawn pad and then get into the rift. And Gangplank has started with the Crystalline Flask and the free potions, so going for this more conservative start up against Wicked, who has opted towards the Duran Shield. So,
one thing about 514 Gangplank and not 515 Gangplank, I assume, after you know, the reworked Gangplank came out, is you know, at this point I'm expecting Wonderwear to be able to do quite a lot of damage because he's not armless.
Oh man, 10 out of 10. Would listen to it again. Kyrie there, is doing a dance battle with Obvious. Heaver and Nisbet is going to be walking some circles.
Alistar, I have now you should meet.
Huh.
Well then.
Didn't know he said that to Alistair. Nice. Good stuff. Wicked charging up his danger zone using his Flame Spitter. If you are level 1 and you put a point into Flame Spitter, you can just keep spamming it and you get like 10 at a time. And eventually you can get into your danger zone, which is actually really important for your level 1. Just if you get into a trade, it's a lot of extra damage.
That's the thing is, when you go to play Rumble, anybody that doesn't play a lot of top lane, people are like, great, Rumble, I just got to ult. It could be great.
Yep.
That's all I've got to do in this situation. No,
how wrong you are.
You've got to balance everything. It's like you basically got the levers in front of you and the buttons to hold everything at the right place, and then kind of combo with all of the right level of heat. But on this scenario, in this game, how will Team Dignitas circumvent the opening game from Kyrie here? We saw the early Sightstone last game from Obvious. It worked until Kyrie got to level 6. Kyrie power farmed his way to level 6 and just ganked with his ult.
So if you look at this setup, bot lane, you're probably not going to get a gank off at level 6 from Kyrie because Nisbet will just knock you away with a headbutt. Kobe's got the spell shield and a bunch of summoners. Top lane has oranges. Jungle, probably not going to be ganked. Mid lane is the only place that Kyrie is going to be looking for a gank, and we saw that last game, and it's Zera. Senkux just has to play defensive, and in theory, you've mitigated Rengar's presence in the game post-6.
In theory, and honestly, we heard Senkux, or saw Senkux on Twitter, if you were checking out your social media during the break or the downtime. As we said, he knows there were mistakes in the first game, and said they're not going to happen again. They better not happen again on a Zera, because if they do, this game may end even faster at this point. But Xerath is the kind of champion that you can sit back, play more defensive, and look to get a lead from there. Nisbet gets Woolite into the wall.
Yeah, knocks him up as well. Heaver will respond with some auto attacks, gets the concussive blows down to punish the cow. Kobe will put out the auto attacks as well, but fairly even trade down in the bottom lane after that engage. Mid lane though, Q and Senkux again just going even. Don't expect too much explosive action from the Victor. Xerath lane outside of the jungler intervention. Obvious was the first one into the top river to secure that crab, so already he'll be blocking off the gank route for Kyrie if he goes up and around the mid lane.
You can see already the new Gangplank is Special Forces Gangplank in this case, with the barrels now on his E rather than raise morale. Those barrels have 3 health bars on them that tick down to 1, and if you parlay the barrel while it's on 1 health, it will explode and chain with any other barrels that are next to it. They deal a significant amount of damage as well, so do not underestimate that. And Wicked's going to have trouble actually proccing them as well. You can kill them as an enemy. You just hit it while it's on 1 health and it will die. It gives you a little bit of gold.
10 gold.
But to actually stand in the barrel for it to explode as a melee range champion like Rumble is tough. That was
Obvious flash, I think.
Nope. Obvious held his flash.
Cosq flashed.
Cosq flashed out on that mid lane, but certainly we'll have to watch how Wonderwear's early presence sits in this game.
Yeah, Wicked is actually just going to use his kill combo, jump straight on top of Wonderwear. He flashes forwards, gets another harpoon on him for the slow, turns around, gets the Flame Spitter as well. Wonderwear is incredibly low in his trade. He will be getting back to his turret. Both flashes exchange, and he'll have to go back to base.
He's going to have to go back to base. He did accrue a fairly significant lead to begin this one off, but Wonderwear taking too much damage from the all-in from Wicked. That might be a sign of things to come. As if that happens, an equalizer is available. Wonderware is going to really struggle to get himself away. Oranges don't really roast very well. They kind of tend to melt. As, at this point, Team Dignitas giving a blue buff over to Senkux early on, once again. It's proved to be a good strategy at the beginning of last game until Senkux then got obliterated by Kairi once his ultimate came up.
Yeah, it's good if you don't donate it to the opposing jungler. But in the top lane, Wonderware has returned to lane. He actually used his teleport to do that one. Wicked used it early on. There goes the pink ward, who will be removing that one. Probably not going to be too many ganks from Obvious in the top lane, as Wonderware is constantly pushing in this wave, probably where he wants as well. Can actually harass underneath the turret using Parley. Mid lane, going back. Senkux is going back right now. Kozku's already done so. Just picked up the Doran's Ring and a couple wards, consumables. We'll be getting back into this.
Obvious heading to the top lane. I realize I said oranges melt. I don't think they do. I've never roasted an orange, actually, thinking about it.
I know, cooked oranges are pretty good, man.
Right, but I've never personally roasted one, so I don't know what I'm going with.
Roast it with like a roast chicken, dude. It's like a thing.
Chicken, yeah, okay. Fair enough. I mean, it's a little bit weird. It's not quite my culinary taste.
Okay.
Then
Probably
again, I don't pretend to be Ainsley Harriott or anything like this. So, you know, away from the culinary show, back on to Summoner's Rift at this point. There's a lot of food-related champions with Wonderware. Picks Tahm Kench, picks Gangplank.
Ready, steady, shoot a Parley. At Wicked in the top lane.
He's got to respect it, because now he's level 6 against Wicked. And Wicked, once he gets his power up, or his heat up, will be able to drop that equalizer, and then Wonderware has to kind of just deal with the equalizer. I'm interested to see what exactly Wonderware goes for with regards to the upgraded ultimate. That's the other thing, is every time Gangplank parlays a minion and gets a kill with it, you actually get another form of currency, and you can use that to upgrade the ultimate to do different things.
The Silver Serpents, and you can upgrade it to a bunch of different things. So basically the E was changed, so it's now Powder Keg. That ultimate was just used to clear out the minion wave. But yeah, so he has 3 different upgrades. He has Death's Daughter, which does more damage in the epicenter of the ultimate. The Raised Morale, which is essentially a replacement for his E, so everyone, all of his allies will be sped up in while in the ultimate. And then Fire at Will, which is 6 additional waves over the duration, so it just fires faster and does more damage in an AoE.
So you can see the vision control coming out from Denial on the bottom side of the river of mid lane. You can also see how far back Senkux is sitting in the lane as well, knowing that it's almost time for Kairi to be level 6. They did read he's level 5 off the ward. And now Kozku is having a lot of trouble pressuring this. No flash still available on Kozku, and now they get the heal as well. But it's bottom lane, the big trade's happening. Yeah,
Nisbet doesn't yet have his ultimate, and he's getting chunked down by Warlock. That has to be the heal used by Kobe, so that's been exhausted in this bottom lane. Eva still responding with the damage. The Winter's Bite was not actually spell shielded there out by Kobe. And Wicked will take this time in the top lane to clear away this pink ward while Wonderware went back to base. So it was Obvious was not defending that one, so that is a lot of gold down the drain.
It is, and you know, this top matchup where we saw the equalizer come out from Wicked already, just because purely his teleport was up and he hadn't been back to base yet. So he goes back, picks up the Sorcerer Shoes, knows that Wonderware now has to run back to lane. I believe Wonderware used his ult as well, very similarly. Either that or the pattern is... Yeah, okay, no, he did use his ult. It was kind of blending in with the cooldown timer. But Obvious is looking to gank top lane. This isn't something we see all that much, and we know there's a ward there, so this is a tough gank here, but there's the parlay onto the barrels.
Now it's nice with the chain reaction. Obvious now coming in with the Burrow. Wicked pops the ultimate, but that's a lot of damage coming out from both of these 2 laners. And Obvious was dropped very low along with Wonderware, but they will get out. Kairi now heading into the top lane, jumps in, gets the auto-attacks down, in with the savagery, and picks up the kill onto Wonderware. So that actually turns into a 1-for-1, and the assist went over to Wicked as it was still within the timer.
Nice change-up of the pace of the game from Kairi. Knows that he can come top, look for the counter gank. A little bit late on the actual gank to save Wicked's life, but knew that if Wonderware stuck around to try and farm out the lane, it was a fairly easy kill. And you can see that the priority around mid lane has dropped significantly from Denial. Now that they're not able to get easily onto Senkux, it's far, far harder for Kairi to snowball that mid lane, so he's going to look for top lane instead. That time it was the kill and the assist going over to Kairi, and the assist going over to Wicked at this point. So it is a fairly even game when it comes to the kills. Team Dignitas do have a lead in the farm stemming from top lane.
Yeah, Wonderwear placing down more powder kegs. We'll be trying to use those to farm as many minions as possible, as the parlay will give you the extra gold on everything that the powder keg kills.
In fact, it's the first blood gold, and bottom lane is behind by roughly the same amount the top lane is ahead. So the game is fairly even on the farm across the board. So how will Wicked deal with this barrel? He's cut off. He knows he can't go. Look at the damage already.
Yeah, that crit was quite a lot of damage. Wicked takes another parlay as well. Very difficult from Wicked. I mean, there's no real counterplay to being parlayed in the face when you're melee range.
No.
Senkux to take that blue buff will be not using the arcane, of course. Is currently slightly behind in the farm, but as the minion wave resolves, as it hits the turret, then he'll be equal. Is looking towards the Fiends and Holy Grail, so not too much of a change there. In jungle, Obvious has gone for the Warrior enchant on Rek'Sai, which is different from the first game. He went straight into the Cinderhulk and was very much looking for the vision using the Sightstone. So it's interesting that he's going for a more damage-orientated build this time around when he has more damage on the team.
I think this means for Obvious that he can actually get himself involved rather than warding and relying on his laners to play a safer game. His laners just are naturally going to play a safer game from mid lane with this Seraph sitting further back. So I actually like the adaptation. Ooh, those barrels deal a lot of damage. I like the way that Wonderwear comboed that. Yeah. Gives himself the easier barrel to explode in the bush because he knows Rumble can't clear it out, and puts a full health barrel in front of the Rumble to make it chain. The interesting things about the barrel, there are another couple of factors onto it. There's a lot of things with the barrels. When you explode a keg with Parlay, everything killed by the keg applies Parlay's effects for the additional gold. That's the Braum ultimate in the bottom lane alongside it. Yeah,
Glacial Fisher comes up, waiting for the ultimate to wear off from Nisbet so they can jump in here. Gets the auto attack damage and also the Void Ooze. Woolite picked up that kill, and also Kyrie gets the assist as well. And that was just a nice gank onto the bottom lane, onto Nisbet.
Again, no focus on mid lane. Kyrie is going elsewhere in this game to get his impact. And, you know, again, Denial, they found themselves ahead just after that 10-minute mark when it comes to some of their lanes. Wicked was behind, and overall the team was slightly behind as well. But bottom lane was going well for Denial. Kyrie is going to stick around and make sure they can push onto that turret. But over on the top side, Jungler of Obvious is sitting on a ward himself, so not going to be caught out by that. And that is Denial. Again, just overall a net gain for Denial.
Early game lead here, 2-1 plus that tower, denying as many minions as they can in the bottom lane up against Kobe before they finish off this turret. And maybe even one more minion, not quite. Okay, so Kobe will be hurting a little from that. It's actually 20 CS that Woolite has over in the bottom lane. We were talking about this before in game one, how Woolite generally has a pretty good early game, generally has a pretty good mid game as well. Likewise, the rest of the team does so. Heaver as well. Is usually how they give up those advantages, but this time, again, they get this advantage. In the top lane, Wicked will just pop the ultimate, a response by using the ultimate from Wonderwear, but Wicked's just going to walk into the bush, has the overheat damage, has the minion wave, and the ultimate as well. While you're fighting in that, you're constantly taking damage, and Wonderwear with the outplay on the gangplank.
Oh man, that was sick, that flash away. Just kind of, the orange baited Wicked into thinking he could take the trade. Then he just hammered the potions and the flask and just made sure that everything was ticking to keep himself alive. Nice flash away as well. That is the strength of the new Gangplank. If you do get hit by the barrels, by the ultimate as well, there is a lot of damage in Gangplank's kit. However, it is a tricky ask to get the barrels down, get the damage down. And Wonderwear certainly got it that time.
Yeah, that was really well played.
Really well played.
Nicely playing around the cannon barrage. Kyrie just making sure there's no one around while he takes his red buff. He'll be taking that one away. Okay, so mid lane, slight advantage. Bot lane, slight advantage as well for Denial. Top lane is the only one that's going the way of Wonderwear. Even trying to get the kill onto the Grub there, Cubby was blocking it. It's actually interesting to see Wonderwear on a not carry, or a not tank rather, on a carry. Actually going to shut up about that as we do have this engage here. Kobe using the ultimate on the hunt. The rest of the team is right behind him. Kyrie has already stealthed up, so they get his ultimate. And the ultimates are raining down in from Woolite as well. But that's actually pretty important. Burning Kyrie's ultimate in this early game, especially how many kills it was getting him both early on in this game and last game.
And this is something we didn't see Team Dignitas doing in the first game. They were not pressuring those early fights. They weren't looking to burn the ultimate from the Rengar earlier on. So very, very different playstyle coming out from Team Dignitas. And one thing we haven't touched on yet is, we've already spoken about the range on mid lane, but look at the range in general that Team Dignitas will be putting between the front line of Team Dignitas and the back line. Xerath is going to try and use that Right of the Arcane from way far behind. Gangplank will be able to ult in and get damage done from a global perspective. So Team Dignitas right now are looking to just force Denial into these fights where at the front line for Team Dignitas he's using the Sivir ultimate to go in. The Alistar, the Rek'Sai.
Wow,
Wonderware is just going to try and trade with people and completely blow them up.
That was insane coming out from Wonderware. The crit from the parlay and just, yeah, Swag walks out of there with the oranges, just eating oranges all the way to the bank. Very nice. Has the Triforce as well, so that was actually a very big spike in damage, but Wicked probably thought he was okay because he's sitting on his own giant power spike with the Haunting Guys and the Sork Boots.
The overall trade is the tower and the kill in the top lane for Wonderware for the first dragon in the game coming from Denial. Denial did manage to secure that at the same time. However, I prefer this trade going in favor of Team Dignitas. I mean, at this point, Rumble already can't deal with Gangplank. So who will deal with Gangplank? I'm interested to see where he continues to build here, what in fact that pickaxe is going into. There are a lot of options available to see what he's picking up, but he is going to be real difficult to actually get away from and just sit in a solo lane. I really like this Gangplank pick.
Yeah, and this is actually very nice getting those advantages in that top lane as well as the other lanes basically going mostly even apart from the bot lane. Because last time Dignitas weren't able to contest any of the future dragons. This one went away from them, of course, because of the positioning, but the following ones they can contest. Unlike last game where they were so far behind, contesting them would result in a 5-0.
And the reason that this game Team Dignitas are able to just completely change up their style is the stat line of mid lane, and Cosq's gone completely under tower.
Flash, knock up, knock back, parlay, dead.
Certainly was no parlay set up between
no.
the Team Dignitas lineup and Wonderware. It's a very ironic name for an ability, actually. If Pirates of the Caribbean taught me anything, parlay is meant to mean that you don't take any kind of fights and pirate rules. But then again, I guess Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't exactly the most factual of films.
Probably not.
What with the the whole zombies thing and Davy Jones.
There was a lot that didn't make sense, but there's a lot that makes sense in this game from Dignitas' game plan with the Gangplank pick.
Yeah.
Free one-on-one.
And the real stat line to highlight compared to the first game, 0-0-1 on Senkox. Hasn't been out of position in this game at all. Has never been in a position to be out of position, and Kyrie has never been able to get
to put him out of position
to capitalize on the position that he was out of.
Now he's in a good position. Yeah, 0-1-1. That's actually what he wanted to be last game as Orianna.
Yeah.
Yeah, just this nice stat line. Has a lot of farm. 180, by the way, at 18 minutes is a lot. He's been farming pretty much every minion in his wave, including probably jungle camps as well. 195, however, from Cosq. All they have been doing in mid lane is farming as optimally as possible.
I mean, I wouldn't expect too much more from Xerath into a Victor lane. Top lane, however, there is a big difference. Just because of the added pressure that Gangplank has been able to have in the 1v1. You can see the top lane's actually fairly neutralized right now by the fact that it's pushing towards Team Dignitas. It means that Rumble can't go up there, can't absorb any farm. And if Denial can't do anything with that lane without sending anybody up there until it pushes into tower and then pushes back away from them, that means they have to focus elsewhere. There's no dragon on the map, and bot lane is in a fairly similar position, pushing away from Denial. Somebody's going to clear that out for Team Dignitas, but right now all Denial are doing is just sitting around in mid lane, not doing too much.
Yeah, and Digger just looking to soften them up. I was actually thinking they were going to go for a 5-man push there because Senkox used his ultimate to try and put some damage down. Was expecting Wonderware to follow up with his own and then for them to push in, but as it stands, the buffs are spawns, and obviously it's going to take us away, and everyone's going to go back to lane. So, yeah, Senkuk's just using his ultimate for harassment then more than anything, and Kozq will mop up the minion wave. So 4-2 right now. Dignitas have this early lead in terms of gold. First Dragon went over to Denial. Kyrie's waiting in the wings as well, but Dragon's Dragon's going to be spawning in just under 2 minutes. Baron as well in 10, but neither of these teams are going to contest that really. Just before we actually saw Wonderwear parlay a barrel, but it wasn't armed correctly, so we just shot it and nothing happened.
Just apparently films aren't right. If you shoot a barrel like that, they don't all explode.
You got to check its health bar first.
That would make things really weird in films. But at that point, I didn't actually... the range on the barrels is fairly large. You saw him actually check the bush that Kyrie was sitting in as well. So significant range on those barrels to put him down. Make sure you keep yourself safe. Kyrie is trying to get to mid lane, but look how far this wave's going to get cleared from. Oh, Senkuk's don't step forward. He's fine.
Actually, odd timing by Kyrie. The minion wave was cleared out. Senkuk was going back, and Senkuk goes to ward, so this actually might work out. Turns around, gets the shocking orb down onto Kozq, follows up as well with the death ray on the ultimate coming in. So eventually it did work out, and both summoners burnt from Senkuk's. The team just wasn't reacting fast enough.
At the very last second before it expires, Kyrie is able to just get the jump on. That was pretty fortunate that Senkuk's moved to the side to ward. A little bit, I don't want to say greedy, because that in theory should have been fairly safe considering it just pushed the wave out, but just the unfortunate timing from Senkuk's looking toward here. Ultimate has been used by Gangplank. That will clear out the wave in the top lane. And you can see that Team Dignitas kind of just dance around in the shells.
Yeah. Senkuk's like, the one time I ward, the one time Kyrie's already stealthed up. But yeah, that was really unlucky. Actually unlucky in that scenario. Wicked will be backing off with the rest of his team, trying to get this mid lane pushed down. Senkuk is only now coming in from base. Obvious jumps over the wall. Actually, he might be able to go out with this minion wave. Copy's there as well with the ricochet, so yeah, they get it down. Top lane, Nisbet is there to assist Wonderwear. Wonderwear does not have his ultimate, but they should be able to get it with the powder keg. Nisbet also gets the knock up and the knock back onto Heaver into the turret. He'll be jumping away using Stand Behind Me. But Nisbet has used his own ultimate, and Woolite doesn't really have the damage to chunk through. Unbreakable Will gets him with the last living artillery, and Wonderwear escapes with his life as well. So a nice 1-0 using the teleport. Mid lane, no carry, comes in with the bowler, locks him down. It's a lot of damage coming in from the Death Ray. The Equalizer as well comes out with the right of the Arcane, but it isn't enough to secure a return kill. So that's a one-on-one all over the map. But while all that was happening, Obvious was taking the Dragon. So all in all, not just yet, because Woolite is pushing the top lane. It should be an advantage for Dignitas if this tower falls down, and it will be pretty much equal.
Oh, Woolite's going to have to back away with that minion wave. Gangplank's also coming up as well. Oh, okay, he sticks around and gets it. Okay, he managed to drop the aggro at that point. Obvious being on Dragon at that point probably should have been a tell for Senkuk's not to fight mid lane. They didn't know where Kyrie was. So a little bit of a weird decision creeping back in to the Team Dignitas setup here. Weird individual plays. But one thing that you saw up in the top lane, one of the weaknesses of Gangplank is against ranged champions. Because if you don't have to stand in the barrel to kill it, you're not going to get damaged by it, and you're just going to auto-attack it from a range. However, that is a lot of damage if you can't kill it.
Brutal.
Man, that hurts. It looks like he's going Infinity Edge. This is full crit Gangplank.
Oh, the return of crit plank.
I prefer it to Rune Glaive, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. Wonderwear's just tanking a couple tower shots here. Should be able to take this tower. One more auto attack. Right of the Arcane though. Dancing Shoes. Does Heaver have them? The last one doesn't quite land. Plus the ultimate. Oh, Boomerang Blade as well. But the heal came out from Woolite. Very clutch there. Saw the fan vote actually going this time in favor of Denial after that first game. So close to turncoat.
I can't...
so fast.
I was going to say so close. It already happened.
Yeah. Could
have happened. I mean, I'm not surprised.
No.
After how the first game went. However, Team Dignitas are looking a lot sharper in this game. A nice play onto the mid lane. All stems from just that barrel exploding onto Heaver and the pressure being put on, forcing out summoners on the retreat coming from Denial. So it looks like if this trend continues in this game, looks like we may be heading for a third game. But there's still a long time here. We'll see whether Denial can manage to group effectively. That time, no real explosion coming out from Hiva. Here comes the equalizer.
Yeah, the chair doesn't connect with Nisbet, and Willight's trying to get all of these extra auto attacks onto the turret while the minion wave dissipates. It's actually an interesting interaction with Hiva where you can put up the shield in front of the barrel and partly hits it so it doesn't explode. So if you can get that down perfectly, that's a lot of damage mitigated onto his team. Yeah, mid-turret will be given up and conceded here by Dig. This is smart.
And the reason is that not only is it fairly low health, but the ultimates are not up for Team Dignitas yet. Senkox's has just come up, but the Gangplank ult is not available
pretty key
at this point in time. So Kyrie will clear out a pink himself. Everybody from Dig kind of just splits up across the map. And that is the end of that.
That was the end of that. I actually wonder what Gangplank upgraded on his ultimate. I don't think has he spent his points yet?
How many coins? He has 43. I believe it's 50 you need, right, to upgrade?
You need a lot, I think.
I think it's 50. I must admit, I haven't... Oh, Obvious has been caught.
Yeah, he's thinking too much about the Silver Serpents. He's going to be maybe caught out. Well, Kyrie's the one to actually die there. Wicked jumping after him, gets the kill combo down, punches him with the overheat damage, but raining from the sky on the right of the Arcane. Blast coming in from Senkox. Jumps over the wall with Nisbet. Just get the knock back, but not the knock up. So he just kind of headbutted Hiva to safety there. Boomerang Blade also connects onto him, but the powder keg wasn't quite in range. Wonderwell will just punch that one for good measure. So exchange on the junglers for a 1-for-1.
Yeah, 1-for-1, as you said, in the jungle. It's actually 500. The client...
Bit of a difference.
Well, the client only has two significant figures on the icon. So it says 46 here, but it's actually 460 he's got right now. So it's 500 to upgrade. So he's not that far away.
That's like
that would be horrible.
Really badly. Yeah.
Man, you get the 200-minute Gangplank. That's where really you get all 3 upgrades. He does blow people up. No, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
It's actually interesting how long it takes a Gangplank to get those Silver Serpents, though, because we're 26 minutes in, almost 27 minutes. He's been farming really well, 235, and we've seen a lot of minions be killed by the Parley as well.
So that's the second time that we've seen that interaction from Hiva, which is that 2 barrels go down. Parley comes in, blows up the first barrel, it chains to the second, but Unbreakable prevents the damage even from the barrel explosion, by the looks of it. It's not an interaction I have any experience with, because my time playing Gangplank on Braum has been very limited over the last week or so. So that's an interesting one that we're kind of seeing here, is that you can reduce so much of the damage just by using that Unbreakable. However, that does mean Unbreakable is not going to be available for any subsequent abilities. So
but realistically, what abilities is he going to block? Because Senkox's Arcana Pulse is going to go through. Shocking Orb, okay.
Yep.
Right over the Arcane is just going to fly over.
Boomerang, if it's particularly
But the biggest thing is going to be the Parley damage and the powder kegs coming in from Wonderwear.
I got distracted by Gangplank shouting things at this point. Team Dignitas
abuse.
Even every time the Unbreakable goes up, he's like, shouting, hurling abuse from the deck. Here, okay, so he's upgraded.
Death's Daughter.
Death's Daughter.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage onto Kotsku. Comes in with the Arcano Pulse as well. Hiva does get the shield up, but Kyrie obliterates Kabe. He's going to go for a different target. He immediately flashes out. The Shocking Orb will follow him down. Arcano Pulse gets the return damage, but now Nisbet comes in with a 2-man knockup. He doesn't have his ultimate, however. Yes, he does. He already popped it. And Wicked now goes onto the front lines, but he's going to get caught out here. Wonderwear just needs the auto attack. Gets him with the Parley, but the Voidooz comes down from Warline. Will blast him down with the Living Artillery. That turns in for a 2-for-2 overall. The bot lane exchanged for Kotsku and Wicked.
Woolite at this point has so much damage that he can actually sit here and again just clears the barrel out. There is no real danger. Woolite's got to be careful the Shocking Orb doesn't catch him astray and then follow up by a crit coming from Wonderwear, so he does have to back off. But that is Dragon going to go over to Denial, so although Denial are still behind, they are not out of this one by any stretch of the imagination. Senkox may look to try and steal, but he's going to die if he ends up going in.
Oh, gets the flash though from Hiva, just off screen. We do see Wonderwear heading forwards here. Doesn't quite get in range. Good bowler in from Kyrie. So after all of that, the Dragon did go over to Denial after that scrappy back and forth. We're actually going to see a replay of that last fight. Nisbet with this engage and also the ultimate coming in.
Boom. Lots of damage onto Kotsku at this point. But you know, you look at where Woolite is on the map, and Denial managed to turn this fight around. Kyrie, really nice jump back out, but Woolite has just got to this fight here, and now he turns the damage down onto Obvious. Obvious at this point only really had the locket, so no real armor to speak of. So the Kog'Maw is going to shred right the way through that. And then Team Dignitas are forced to run. They can't contend with the amount of damage Woolite is able to put out because the barrels just simply are not living long enough.
Yeah, Wonderwear as well, the ultimate, that was just all used on Kozuki. There's a lot of ultimates, and now Wonderwear comes in and is being jumped on by Kyrie. Actually trading back and forth actually pretty well in this one. Obvious might have enough damage to get this return kill. Doesn't have the flash, doesn't have the tunnel. I don't think he can make it in, and he doesn't, in fact. Wonderwear, a little slow on the orange eating, but yeah, will be taken out there for a 1-0. Kyrie was so close to falling.
He needs to go to that orange eating class.
Is that a thing? I bet it's a thing. Of course it's a thing.
Just eat the damn orange.
Just do it!
There's always time for Simpsons quotes whenever there is oranges to be eaten. But at this point, as you said, that top lane gank, Wonderwear just completely getting taken to pieces. His ultimate, he tried to kite back into it. Could never really get there, and didn't draw Kyrie in. Kyrie was a little bit too wise to that one. So, oh, they've caught Heaver out for now, though. But you can see the return damage coming out. Senkux is going to let loose.
Yeah, connects 2. Again, 2 out of 3. Done that quite a lot this game. Heaver using a stand behind me. Or rather, stand behind you as I run away. Wicked in this mid lane, clearing out this minion wave. We're actually seeing a lot of downtime before team fights because the teams are just waiting for all their ultimates to come up, and it's just like, all right, now we're ready to team fight.
That, and they've both got such good wave clear. Yeah. Between Kog'Maw and between a Victor, nobody's pushing anywhere. A Rumble in the mix as well. And then on the other side, Xerath, Sivir, Gangplank.
Yeah, that's a dead
Ain't
minion
no
wave.
lanes getting pushed anywhere in this game. But Denial. Looking at group top lane again. Wonderwear, oh, he's recalling.
He is, and he's already eaten the oranges, I think. I don't think any amount of oranges is going to save you at this point. Actually hadn't eaten the oranges, but still will be chased down. Kyrie gets the jump from the bush. And another kill on to Wonderwear. Just getting some good picks. Making a lot of use out of these Rengar ultimates, as we saw in Game 1. Even later on into this game, using that with the rest of his team. Heaver did take some damage from Baron, actually, as obviously I think Prey Seekers are over the wall, but it's not going to deter them too much, I don't think. Actually still getting punished a little here. Kyrie jumps over the wall into that ward as well.
The problem for Team Dignitas right now is they're getting stalled heavily from their lead, and they're not able to utilize Wonderwear in this game at all. We spoke about who can 1 versus 1 the Gangplank. That's not a question if Denial are 3v1ing it again and again. And then Team Dignitas are getting slowed by the wave clear from Kozuki, by the wave clear from Woolite. Nobody has really touched bottom lane in about 10 minutes in this game.
Yeah.
Nobody's even been down there at this point. Wonderwear is going to be heading that way himself, but that may open up the map for Denial to look for an engaged top side. You can see them positioning for it. Now they've spotted Wonderwear down there. It's all on Team Dignitas to not get picked here. Their wave clear and their vision control has to be good enough to allow Wonderwear to sit there. And you can see Wonderwear's not confident in doing it. He slow pushed the bottom lane to push into the turret shortly, and now is grouping. He's not looking to all-in split push.
And the dodgy decision-making that we've seen from Denial is just not here. Like, we've seen a lot of good decision-making. We've seen them stall as well. They did get spotted out there, but Dignitas EU were typically the ones making the optimal decisions, and now every single time the ultimate is up from Kyrie, he makes use of it, and even by himself, just with the assistance from Kozuki, he's able to detonate Senkux, and all of a sudden, this game is looking so much like Game 1.
Just, again, it's back to that Game 1. This time, wave clear comes through. No real way of capitalizing it for Denial. That is a massive barrel blast, and Kyrie's getting chunked down by Death's Daughter coming from that as well. Now Dig want to engage.
Another powder keg. Heaver will be flashing back. Nisbet didn't get the combo onto him. Another crit in from Wonderwear sends him packing with the rest of his team. Both Kyrie and Heaver on critical HP.
Surely Team Dignitas have to go for Baron here. This will completely undo Denial's game right now. They cannot wave clear Baron minions quite as effectively. Now you have to rely on the damage that's going to come out and shred this down as fast as possible, because you know you just sent the jungler back. Teleport is still available for Denial, but look, they just aren't. They don't have enough damage to do the Baron right now, and they have to back away. So that is all going to result in nothing really in favor of Team Dignitas. All they get from it is a little bit of pressure on the map, a little bit of time to control the vision, but look at all the wards behind Team Dignitas now. As soon as they look to back away, if anybody is backing while not with the group, this is dangerous. And this is dangerous. Knowing there's time for a jungler to regroup and teleport being on the top laner. Wicked's already teleporting in.
And 2,000 health left. Who is going to secure it? Everyone's in the pit. It's stolen away by Kyrie. And they will just turn this fight around. Obvious over the wall, not able to get there. He's taken out by Denial. The rest of the lineup is running away back to base. Wonderwear and Cubby were chunked. You said it was dangerous stress, and that was why.
I don't understand the decision-making at this point. You know the jungler is back in base, so you start the Baron, then you choose not to do it, which is fine. I think that's the right choice, seeing how many people from Denial are there. But then to give Denial the time to regroup, and then to start the Baron, is a real silly choice at that point from Team Dignitas. They couldn't burst it down fast enough, or they would have done it already.
Yeah, it was just questionable decision-making there. There was a good gangplank ultimate just at the end, but we're actually going to see what led up to that fight just then.
You can see Team Dignitas is just trapped. The Rumble teleport has already come in, and it's an easy equalizer at this point. I mean, okay, Team Dignitas get away mostly with their lives, but the damage was already done.
Yeah, just after that, talking about the gangplank ultimate, he did manage to land it onto a bunch of members from Denial, which stopped them pushing the mid lane, so they didn't lose turrets from that, but it just meant Denial turned around and took the dragon instead. So now 3-1 on those dragons. While Gangplank still does a lot of damage, it doesn't matter if the rest of the team all just gets collapsed on by Denial.
Right, and you can see that the wave clear here, Senkux wasn't there. Teleport coming in from behind, they have to use this positioning. Woolite is caught out, but there is an escape route if he can get to it around the side.
And Nisbet is there as well. Gets the shutdown with Wonderwear. Obvious, jumps over the wall, tries to get onto Kyrie. Flashes, jumps, doesn't get it onto either of those targets. Was trying to maybe take him out as he went into stealth. Actually still had the Banshee, so even if he'd landed that, that wouldn't have helped out too much. I said the shopping orb. It's the shocking orb. You just send it off to do your rounds. Do the groceries.
Gotta buy more oranges. That kind of fight is what Team Dignitas have to aim for, which is they were in a very similar position in the last game, trying to utilize the Tam Kench to get there, but Team Dignitas' just plan of trying to use the Gangplank off in a side lane has just been stalled out. They're going to go for the engage.
Cannon Barrage once again cuts off Heaver and Kozq. Great ultimates coming in from Senkus. It is raining down on top of Kozq. Again, he's the first one to die in this team fight. Wicked responding with the Electro Harpoons. Can he get any more damage out? He's already used the Equalizer. And Kyrie is off to the side. He almost has his ultimate. This is an aggressive push into middle lane. The mini wave is dissipating, but they get a good shocking orb onto Wicked this time around. That's 2 kills onto the 2 big carries, onto Denial. They still have Kyrie and Woolite. How much can Dig take away from this?
At this point, Baroned Up minions are going to push back in favor of Denial, but it's not enough by the looks of it. Team Dignitas is just shoving in a normal wave in. Woolite has been chunked.
Perfect ultimate coming in for On the Hunt. They get Heaver caught out. He's underneath that turret. Obvious is getting lasered down by that inhibitor turret. Kyrie jumps in, just get the bowler and the lock onto Nisbet. He'll be taken out by that turret. Wonderwear as well, taking those ultimates from Woolite, and the minion wave is eventually taken down from Denial, but at great cost.
It looked so good for Team Dignitas when they chunked Woolite. If they maybe hadn't gone quite so aggressive, they could have looked to have taken that tower at this point, but Team Dignitas still showing signs of life. That is the key thing here, is they can take these engagements where Denial aren't grouped up and aren't getting the initial pick for these fights, but certainly they are few and far between.
Yeah. If they can continue doing this, Dignitas can definitely find a way to increase their gold advantage, but they still have to keep at the back of their minds that Dragon is still a thing. They're still 2 dragons away from Aspect onto Denial. Baron is a fair ways off, looking at 3 or 4 minutes on that one. But Yeah, this game was definitely made harder from the Baron attempt from Dignitas. But it's not out of the realms of possibility yet for them to take this game. Remember, they are still 1 game down up against Denial. Denial just need to win this 1 game, and they'll be going into the finals. So Dignitas really have to pick up this win.
I must admit, I like Wondoer's barrel usage in this game.
Pretty smart, actually, yeah.
Where I mean, the difficult thing with the new Gangplank is trying to put barrels directly in front of you, but if you can combo one near you that is safe, that is just within range to get the explode combination, it's a pretty good setup. However, Senkux flashes away from Rengar.
This is a good engage from Denial so far. Great equalizer, cuts off the escape route as well. Kyrie is looking to lead the charge, jumps in with the bowler, just not connected. Heaver, everyone is turning around back onto Denial. This could be the turnaround that Dignitas need. A good laser will chunk them down. Nisbet will bite the dust here. Woolite looking to get the damage onto Kobe, but he has low mobility in this game with the Cogmore. Senkux looking for that shocking orb, just not connected this time around. CosQ is still low. The retreat still has to come in from Denial, but that was a 1-for-1 exchange just on the supports.
It's becoming very difficult for Denial to actually get themselves into the fight onto the backline. You saw the Gangplank ultimate come down right in between the front line and the back line from Denial. It meant the damage wasn't there from Denial in the beginning of that fight. And Team Dignitas backline was just able to rain down the damage onto Braum. And Braum, yes, he can use his ultimate to get the knockups, but once that's out, he's a very short-range champion, and all he can do is block more damage with his shield. And if he's the one taking the damage, then yeah, he's going to fall pretty quickly at that point, even though he does have a locket, even though he is fairly tanky in his own right. But you can see exactly how Dignitas want to play these team fights. They're getting a handful of team fights that work out the way they want, but certainly they are hard fought, as Kyrie is continuing to look for those picks. This time Flash not available for Xerath if they catch him out again.
There's going to be some forced team fights in the next couple minutes, though, because Dragon is spawning in 40 seconds, Baron another 20 seconds after that. So both teams will be setting up for that one. It's pretty important that Dignitas contest this, as it will be 4th, putting them on the tipping point for 5th from Denial. And leading up to this fight, a lot of items have been picked up. Senkux has gone for his Death Cap with the Rylai's, a Fiend's, and the Void Staff here. So pretty just standard build for the mid lane. Top lane, kind of interested in what the Gangplank is building. Going to hold that fort as Kyrie has popped his ultimate. He jumps onto Obvious. He's pretty tanky here. There comes the Cannon Barrage to try and disengage. Obvious will get the knocker, but he knows he's done for at this point. The rest of the team will be trying to get away. It's damage control at this point. Or maybe it's just a re-engage. Nisbet jumps in with the combo. Kobe as well just get exhausted. I think he managed to spell shield it, but Nisbet will drop after re-engaging with his team, and everyone else has to back off. They should have just left him.
Yeah, at that point, Obvious was already got nice Zonya's Hourglass to keep CosQ safe. Wouldn't have been enough to kill, but the damage was certainly worth mitigating. Denial don't feel comfortable enough to go for the Dragon at this point, but look at Kyrie looking for the re-engage from the side. He is on a warded area, though, so he is going to back away. Team Dignitas, with the Gangplank, I wonder how much damage they can actually do to this Dragon if they were to look for it, or at least just secure the vision. Problem is the rest of Denial are around. So even though Denial are kind of chunked, I don't think this is a Baron. That's a very fast ultimate coming back up. Kyrie is looking for somebody that's out of position. He's going to find Kobe. Spell shield?
Not in time. And the bowler lands, the lockdown gets in, the flash comes away here. It doesn't really matter if they kill him or not. The flash being down on the AD carries enough, and he had to use the heal. They got what they came for. They got the summoners, and now they can just turn around for the Dragon.
However, Obvious is here. This should be a fairly easy Dragon to steal away. Denial don't even want to look to take it at this point. They started it off and have to back away. They don't have a smite. This is Dragon going over to Team Dignitas, so real tense back and forth. Little scraps that are coming out here, and it's Team Dignitas that are edging their way ahead in this game, but it is a very hard-fought game right now.
Probably feeling it in the hearts for sure, but yeah, that was a really heads-up play from Dignitas there, knowing that they could take that Dragon. But we did have the teleport in from Wicked. We could see some fights opening up very quickly. Yeah,
got to keep in mind, Team Dignitas are 0-1 in this best of 3 right now. Denial, they've looked slower than they did in the last game, running exactly the same composition as Game 1 that took them to a fairly consistent and convincing win over the Team Dignitas lineup to get that 1-0 score so far. They want to go on to Obvious. right now, but they can't get it. And a reminder that the winner of this game will book themselves a spot in the finals.
Wonderwear gets caught out. He uses the oranges. He flashes over the wall. And now Kyrie may be in a bad position. The knockup comes from Nisbet. But everyone gets knocked up in this one. And everyone has to take a timeout before Senkux turns around. Gets the damage down. But Nisbet will be falling. Wicked in from the sidelines. Landed the equalizer. In comes the ultimate in from Senkux. Last one comes down. And that will be Zonya'd out by Cosq. Now they head towards the Baron. Wicked in tow. The rest of the team from Dignitas had to head back. And actually coming back into this, they're going to go for this fight.
Teleport coming in from Gangplank as well. Denial, they're still the shocking orb.
Senkux comes after, lands that orb, obvious as well, looking for this fight. Wonderwear from the back lines, assassinates the Victor, looking for Kyrie as well. He has the barrel set up, he gets the double kill. He's looking for more, the rest of the team over the wall. And Cubby comes in with the boomerang blade to pick up that kill. Wicked will have to run away, as well as Woolite dropping down. And that was a 4-for-0. Dignitas think about the Baron, but they're like, we have a mini wave in the bottom lane, we can take more.
This is going to be a long push in now, considering they have to run to the bottom lane, but there are 50-second death timers here, and they have a Gangplank with a lot of crit. I wonder whether they can actually just push through these turrets. They've got a lot of damage to deal, but I think they can get it at this point.
Yeah, they don't even need the minions. They'll just take that middle turret. Gangplank does a lot of damage against turrets. There goes the inhibitor. Now the minion wave has come in. There comes a Death Daughter upgraded cannon barrage to clear out the minion wave and zone away Wicked. The first Nexus turret is falling down. Wicked is the only person trying to stop them from doing so. Zonya'd comes up, but this tower is going to fall regardless. And now they're onto the Nexus. All they have to do is focus it. Wicked just doesn't have enough damage. And Team Dignitas pull this one out of the bag and take the second game in this best of 3.
What a crazy end to this game. This game was just all small little fights for the last 20 minutes. And finally, Team Dignitas find themselves the fight that they were looking for. They get the flank, and as you said, just assassinated with a parlay from Gangplank onto Cosq, and so much of the damage was gone. There was nothing left in the tank for Denial at the end of that. They put up a real hard push in the end of that game. But the wave clear from both teams was so strong that it was stalled out into that last fight.
Yeah, and it all just came down to that final Baron. Both teams trying to go for it themselves, and it was just so smart. The teleport coming in at the very end just to cut them off, and yeah, 1-1 team fight decisively. Wicked was not enough by himself to stop that push, and that was a minion wave being so far back. They took a tower and an inhib, 2 towers, and the Nexus at the very end. It was kind of incredible as a finish to that game.
Pretty crazy end to that game. It was a messy game.
Yes, yes it was.
Better from Senkux with regards to staying safe in the mid lane. Early game, completely just wave cleared the entire time.
He did get caught twice in that game. First one, I don't know if it was necessarily him, as it was just bad timing on the warding, but the second time was just getting caught. But yeah, definitely a big improvement from the first game.
You could see that Kyrie struggled to get the engages a lot more. There were a couple that he still managed to get, but certainly it was a difficult setup. But there were a couple of team fights that were very prolonged, and this game was just kind of who was in the fight? Was it Wonderwear? Was it Woolite coming in? Who turned around the fight? And we're actually going to take a look at one of the team fights to begin with. This was one of the mid lane team fights that ended up 2-for-2. The one that Woolite was all the way down in the bottom side. So this is Team Dignitas taking the advantage from the beginning. You can see just how much damage that Gangplank opened up with. Then Cobby gets absolutely annihilated at that point. Kyrie gets himself out. And this is where the team fight really begins to turn, because Woolite gets himself into the fight before there is any armor really onto Obvious. And just the range coming from Woolite is just so difficult for Team Dignitas to deal with right now.
Yeah, but they did respond with it later on into that game. Good flank by Wonderwear throughout these team fights. And yeah, you're right. The later this game went on, the harder it was for Denial to go for those team fights, because they went for the initiates, they got the great equalizers and these choke points, but then Gangplank's like, well, I have an ultimate as well, which does basically the same thing, and plunks that down as Denial coming in, and they all get hit by it.
Yes, they all get hit by it. But I think everybody got hit a lot by Gangplank in this game.
Yes, yes they did.
A lot. Lots of Gangplank
I mean,
damage.
the barrels are very difficult to avoid, but we did want to take a look at another replay coming into this. It was the game-winning fight at Baron, and really need to take another look at how the TP came in. So Gangplank's right in behind them.
I would say Cosq took a lot of damage, but he was so low to begin with as it was. And then Kyrie takes the damage from Wonderwear straight up as well. At this point, Denial were just so low it was just a good choice of fight from Team Dignitas. Some really weird decisions when it came to the Baron pit area.
Yeah.
First, Team Dignitas tried to do Baron when the jungler was up, and Obvious comes in and steals it away. And Kyrie comes in, steals it away from Obvious after he dies. Then Denial do that at the end of the game and just put themselves in a position where they haven't dewarded behind you. You haven't set up the area well enough to just not respect the teleport coming through.
Yeah, but it was always that snap decision-making from both teams, especially that last one. It was like instantly they've gone for the Baron, boom, we go back, we have the Rek'Sai jump in with the Void Rush and then teleport in the GP. It was just like instant. Even in the bad decisions, everyone made that right play at the right time, even though it didn't work out. So yeah, it was good from both teams in terms of execution. But remember, guys, this is 1 apiece now. So whoever wins this next game in this best of 3 will be going on to the grand finals, and the loser will drop into the 3rd place game. And honestly, both of these teams deserve to go to the finals here because they are so incredibly strong. Probably the best I've seen Denial throughout the entire split at the moment here.
I would agree, and I cannot wait. I can't wait to see what they've got for us in Game 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic game. So that is 2 games down. The teams are 1 win apiece. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and we'll be back to decide who will advance to the EU Challenger Series Finals.